welcome. Welcome to the University of Pennsylvania Graduate School of Education's 99th Annual Commencement Ceremony. Please stand for the faculty processional. Please remain standing for the student processional. Please be seated.
Good morning. On behalf of the University and of the Penn Graduate School of Education, I'm very pleased to welcome you to our 2013 graduation ceremony. I think Lois may have mentioned earlier, but it's our 99th, so this is a special year, turning a century old. Being a part of Penn GSE is an extraordinary intellectual opportunity. Together we are doing important work at a crucial time in our nation's educational history. Today you end your journey here and begin another as teachers, counselors, scholars, and leaders, and listen to this, as ambassadors for GSE. In the schools where you work, the colleges where you teach, and the communities you serve, you will show the world that Penn GSE graduates are second to none in whatever they do. I commend you for your hard work, and I wish you the best in the many endeavors in your future. We're proud of you. We're proud of what you have accomplished, and we are proud of what you will accomplish. And we are proud of the commitment and the enthusiasm and the intellectual curiosity that you have brought to Penn GSE. You have made us a better school, and you've made Penn a stronger university. Thank you. We know that a journey like this is not accomplished alone. For all the support you've given, will the families and friends of our graduates please stand and be recognized? And I want to give a special shout out to all of the mothers because, of course, tomorrow is Mother's Day. To all of you, to our graduates, to your parents, spouses, partners, children, family, and friends, congratulations. Now it's my great pleasure to introduce a very special person who's our speaker today, Lord David Puttnam, a man who believes in eternity. As a filmmaker, a career he pursued for 30 years, he didn't go in for simply dazzling people with special effects. Special effects films come and go, he once said. That's fashion. We're not in the fashion business. We're in the eternity business. We're trying to do things that influence people. You can see that in his movies, from The Mission to The Killing Fields to Chariots of Fire. He has a record of many awards for his movies, including 10 Oscars, 25 BAFTAs, and a Golden Palm from Cannes. He also has many titles. He was named Commander of the British Empire in 1982. He was knighted in 1995 and was appointed to the House of Lords in 1997, where he's known as Baron Puttnam of Queensgate. When he retired from making films in 1998, David went to work to influence public policy on another kind of eternity business, education. As founder of Britain's National Teaching Awards, as first chair of the General Teaching Council from 2000 to 2002, as president of UNICEF UK, as chancellor of the University of Sunderland, and now as Chancellor of the Open University, David has spent the last 25 years discovering what works in education. David believes that we have have to become more imaginative in the way we educate our children. Teachers and their pupils, he says, are the building blocks of our future, of eternity, you might say. And the way to do that, he believes, is to embrace technology in the schools. Not just pay lip service to technology, but really put it to work in the schools. He wants children to learn more and learn more effectively during the time they spend in the classroom, so that in the end, they become well-informed and productive citizens of the world. I admire David's work and his accomplishments. Please join me in welcoming him.
Thank you very much, Dean Porter. I hope it goes without saying what an enormous honor it is to have been asked to cross the Atlantic to deliver an address at this really very remarkable institution. As someone who's been attending and participating in ceremonies such as this for over 30 years, I never cease to be moved at the privilege of sharing one of the most significant and joyous days of your life, and not just of your lives, but of the lives of all your loved ones who supported, and in many cases sacrificed a great deal to make your academic journey possible. Now, some of you may feel it strange and even a little irritating that your moment of celebration is being interrupted by an elderly man with a grey beard who speaks with an odd accent. Now, the accent and the beard have been with me for a long time, but I wasn't always elderly. The day I first came to this country, in August 1963, was in many respects the most exciting day of my life. I was 22 years old, and my whole life, like yours, stretched out ahead of me. I'd been born in London, what was termed a Blitz baby. That's to say, bombs were raining down on the city for the first 4 years of my life. My mother, my sister, and I slept each night in a variety of air raid shelters. And I was almost 5 when I met my father for the very first time, as he heroically returned from serving in the army overseas. Now, I only mention this by way of explaining that for any child growing up in fairly dismal post-war Britain, the United States was the source of all of our future hopes and dreams. And I wasn't disappointed. Those first few weeks formed an indelible impression upon me. It was almost as if I were coming home. And in a cultural sense, I was, because the movies and the music that have formed the soundtrack of my life originated in what I perceived to be this land of amazing opportunity. So much so that today I still have to describe myself as spiritually, at least, an Irish Anglo-American. The country I arrived in 1963, felt very young. And as if to prove it, there was this equally young and exciting president, John F. Kennedy, who just faced down the Russians over the Cuban Missile Crisis and was touring Europe, talking about change and the future in a political language that my generation could excitedly understand and respond to. 3 months later, he was dead, and I was devastated. In a sense, almost 50 years later, I'm still devastated. The roller coaster ride of the 60s followed, combining the euphoria of a cultural revolution with the catastrophe of Vietnam and the deaths of those other two pillars of hope, Martin Luther King and Robert Kennedy. So I stand here before you today very, very conscious of being, like your parents, or in some cases your grandparents, one of Kennedy's children. Well, in the intervening years, what have I learned? This may or may not surprise you, but the overwhelming lesson has been the importance of retaining your dreams and the power of hope and resilience, the type of hope and resilience that make those dreams possible. On November the 22nd, 1963, I sincerely thought the world, certainly the world as I believed it could and should be, had come to an abrupt end. And no sooner had I dragged myself back into a renewed state of belief than the assassination of another Kennedy, together with that of Dr. King, flung us back into the abyss. Soon afterwards came Watergate, and for many in my generation, all remaining trust in the political system began to evaporate. Coming off the depression of the 1930s, John Steinbeck, one of this country's great literary heroes, must have felt much the same when he sat down to write his monumental work, The Grapes of Wrath. And yet within it, you find an extraordinary passage, one which I'd like to share with you. He said, "This you may say of man. When theories change and crash, when schools, philosophies, when narrow, dark alleys of thought, national, religious, economic, grow and disintegrate, man reaches, stumbles forward, painfully, mistakenly sometimes, but having stepped forward, he may slip back, but only half a step, never the full step." Now, I think John Steinbeck was right. We do just keep coming forward, even if it is only a half step, constantly overcoming obstacles and somehow finding it within ourselves to not simply cope, but to advance scientifically, technologically, even ethically, towards a better understanding of the deficiencies of unrestricted material growth. Now, crucial to this understanding is your own chosen field, that of education. My own countryman, the scientist and novelist H.G. Wells, was probably more right than he could have imagined when almost 100 years ago he predicted that the future of civilization would be a race, as he then put it, between education and catastrophe. But he went on to say this: "Let us learn that truth and spread it as far and as wide as our circumstances allow." Well, my circumstances today extend only as far as you, the audience, among whom are the future, not of just of this great country, but in a sense of civilization itself. No pressure, you understand. But this comes from someone deeply conscious that this world and the very tough challenges we've handed you will be no place for the faint-hearted. As educators, you're being asked to do something that's not been required of any generation of teachers in human history. You're being called upon to perform something quite close to a miracle, because never before have we sought to develop the intelligence, the competence, the agile survival skills that will allow a new generation to emerge, fully equipped, into a world of competition and complexity, the like of which we can at present only quite dimly imagine. That's why, if we're to have any chance of successfully addressing this challenge, we ourselves have to become significantly more imaginative and persuasive in our approach to what we think of as education. And that's precisely the challenge that this university and this school is determinedly taking on. Now, most, if not all of you, will have your own favorite book. Mine is The 7 Pillars of Wisdom by T.E. Lawrence. Some of you will know that as the book upon which the movie Lawrence of Arabia was based. It's a great film, but the book is more complex and even more interesting. In 1926, looking back on the broken dreams and broken promises that followed the Allied victory in World War I, Lawrence wrote this: "The moral freshness of the world to be intoxicated us. We were wrought up in ideas to be fought for, yet when we achieved and the new world dawned, the old men came out and took our victory to remake it in the likeness of the former world they knew." And here's where this circle closes. Time and again in my own lifetime, the old men have reappeared to snatch our victories and remake the world as they prefer it. And unsurprisingly, time and again, I've found myself tempted to throw in the towel and give in to them. But something nags away and keeps stopping me. From somewhere comes the resilience to carry on. Maybe it's because I'm able to conjure up a clear memory of the beginning of my own journey. Those nightly bombing raids in early 1941, a prelude to what at the time appeared an inevitable Nazi victory. JFK being snatched away at a ridiculously early age, as was his brother, along with Dr. Luther King. But there are obligations attached to being my father's son, just as there are to being one of Kennedy's children. And as such, I've no right to betray them by simply shrugging and joining the powers of darkness, however you wish to interpret them. So in this 50th anniversary year, you're likely to be reminded 1,000 times, not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. Now, many of you will hopefully come to the conclusion that you too are Kennedy's children, and that in this deeply interconnected era, that challenge extends well beyond what you can do for your country, but to the service that you can offer to the whole of humanity. It only remains for me, in warmly congratulating you on your achievements in graduating from this incredible institution, to wish you all the luck in the world in making your own and the dreams of many, many thousands of other young people come true. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you, David. That was wonderful. We now present the school awards that recognize students, staff, and faculty who have been particularly notable in their achievements this year. The selection of recipients for these awards is difficult because we choose from a pool of excellent candidates, all of whom are deserving of special honor for their significant accomplishments. While we are proud of all of our graduates, we acknowledge these recipients individually. The Excellence in Teaching Award was established to acknowledge outstanding pedagogy by our faculty and teaching staff. It is a testament to the Graduate School of Education's commitment to our teaching mission, and as such recognizes faculty who are imaginative, well-organized, intellectually challenging, inspiring, and enthusiastic in their teaching practice. Each year, our students nominate faculty they feel are deserving of this award, and our awards committee, comprised of students, faculty, and staff, selects the recipient. Heather Brubach, a graduate and nominator of this year's recipient, will now present this award. Heather?
Janine Remillard, Associate Professor at the Graduate School of Education, is willing to go above and beyond for her students, and she is determined to help her students succeed. Janine challenges her students to push past the apprehensions they have in mathematics and sees the subject matter in a very positive light. Janine has inspired students to appreciate innovation and to accept differences in ways of thinking. Additionally, Janine is committed to equity and to social justice in mathematics education, both in her teaching and in the extra activities and programs that she helps to organize. These programs are particularly valuable to pre-service teachers. She embraces and encourages discourse and discussion, which then enhances her students' math understanding. She is excellent at preparing her students to succeed, and she continues to do so. Her students love that she challenges them, and she creates a safe space for us to share our struggles. Janine continues to inspire students to become open-minded and successful teachers, and her passion for teaching is truly contagious. It is my sincere pleasure to present the Excellence in Teaching Award to Janine Remillard.
Professor Mary Beth Gasman will present the William E. Arnold Award for Outstanding Contributions by a Doctoral Student to Carol Chernoff.
Okay, good morning, everyone. I have the pleasure of introducing Carolyn Chernoff, who is the winner of the Outstanding Contributions by a Doctoral Student Award. Carolyn is a doctoral student and teaching assistant. She's been incredibly active during her time at GSE. As a master's and PhD student, Carolyn has continually connected students, faculty, and staff through formal and informal social programs, formally advised master's students, worked extensively with students in methods classes, as a longtime teaching assistant for ethnographic methods, and brought the resources of the Center for Teaching and Learning at Penn to GSE in the form of student-faculty workshops in her role as a teaching fellow for teaching excellence. Her work as an instructor for Teach for America teachers, master's candidates, and students interested in matriculating into GSE's degree programs has expanded students' understanding of what GSE offers and has also contributed to many excellent students and teachers thinking deeply about social and cultural contexts of education at GSE and beyond. Carolyn has worked extensively with the FPE and ECS divisions to set up formal graduate student mentorship programs, organize social and professional workshops, represented GSE in the Graduate and Professional Students Association, advised master's and doctoral students on their path here, and otherwise looked to create connections and build community among students, faculty, and staff at GSE. She has also served as a role model to many students, and she has built connections between the School of Education and schools and departments across campus. Please join me in congratulating Carolyn Chernoff for her outstanding accomplishments as a doctoral student. And next, John Puckett will announce the next award.
Thank you. Danielle Wolf is a student in Education Policy's Joint Degree Master's Program with the Fels Institute of Government. Danielle has served as director of the LEARN student organization for the past 2 years. LEARN has over 400 members in the Penn community, and it is the only interdisciplinary graduate student organization with active members from more than 5 of Penn's graduate schools. LEARN organizes numerous on-campus events related to K-12 public education reform, most recently their second annual spring conference, assessing the viability of public education solutions, which featured, you should know these names, Paul Vallis and Bill Hite as keynote speakers, former and current superintendent. Danielle played a critical directorial role in the conference planning effort, managing several panel discussions as well as the logistics for the day. The LEARN organization has also sponsored several events at GSE, including a successful panel on Pennsylvania's latest charter school legislation. Under Danielle's leadership, LEARN has also helped over 15 Penn graduate students, 11 from GSE, to obtain consulting research positions with nonprofit educational organizations and the School District of Philadelphia. Additionally, Danielle has served as a graduate associate in Rhoden College House for the past 2 years, and she has served on GSE's student government as the representative for the Education Policy Master's Program. In light of her extraordinary contributions to GSE and Penn, it is my pleasure to present the Arnold Award to Danielle Wolf. Now, Emily Loeb will present the Outstanding Service to Students Award to Cindy Rossley.
Well, there are many things that we could say about Cindy Rossley. As the president of Cindy Rossley, thank you. I was ready to wing it. Student Affairs Assistant for the Graduate School of Education goes above and beyond to help her students every day. Cindy works hard to make sure her students' questions are answered and their concerns are addressed. She is incredibly knowledgeable, and her accessibility to supporting students makes such a difference. Cindy gives her individual attention to each of her students, and she somehow always knows the right answers. Cindy is incredibly resourceful,
and she cares about her students deeply. She does a wonderful job at managing crises, and she somehow knows how to make it look easy. Cindy is an amazing individual, and she is and will continue to be the unsung hero of Penn GSE. I am very pleased to present Cindy with our annual award for outstanding service to students.
I'd like to take a minute now to recognize a couple very special people. One is Stanton Wortham. He won the University Lindback Award for Excellence in Teaching. He received that already. Stanton, stand up. This is not your everyday award. The university picks each year 2 or 3 individuals to receive one of its highest accolades possible, the best at teaching, from over 2,500 faculty. So Stanton, congratulations, thank you. And by the way, thank you for being our Associate Dean. I also want to recognize one of our overseers who's with us today, Wally Boston. Wally is not only one of our overseers, Wally, where are you? Oh, there, stand up, Wally. Wally's not only one of our overseers, but he's one of our graduates. He has his doctorate from the Executive Doctoral Program in Higher Education. Wally is the president of the American Public University. Wally, thanks so much for being a part of our community. Now for the doctoral hooding and conferral of the doctoral degrees. Lois?
Will the doctoral students being hooded by Dr. Armacost please approach the stage? Noemi Crespo. Melanie Korn. Aslan Sharinzapov. Melissa Kristen Trotta. Will the doctoral students being hooded by Professor Campano please approach the stage? Caroline McGuire. Will the doctoral students being hooded by Dr. DeFlaminis please approach the stage? Mustafa Abdul Jabbar. Eric Edward Yoke. Will the doctoral students being hooded by Professor Dixon Rahman please approach the stage? Anthony C. Stevenson. Will the doctoral students being hooded by Professor Fantuzzo please approach the stage? Catherine Mary Bargehouse. Whitney Ann LaBeouf. Will the doctoral students being hooded by Professor Finney please approach the stage? Stacia Edwards. Amy McCormack. Philip Rogers. Wayne Williams. Will the doctoral student being hooded by Professor Fry please approach the stage? John Douglas Knutson. Will the doctoral students being hooded by Professor Gadsden please approach the stage? Leah Mary Sahara Austin. Shannon Mara Kane. Helen Albertson. Oh, sorry, excuse me. Will the doctoral students being hooded by Professor Mary Beth Gassman please approach the stage? Helen Albertson. William Kieran Peter Dunworth. April Lynn Herring. Frederick Hoops Wampler. Will the doctoral student being hooded by Professor Hall please approach the stage? Susan Thomas. Will the doctoral student being hooded by Professor Harper please approach the stage? Brian Peterson. Will the doctoral students being hooded by Professor Hartley please approach the stage? Xavier Alexander Cole. Mahesh Das. Jim Yon Lee. Elizabeth Newman. Mercedes Ramirez Bartolome. Allison Lalonde Wyant. Rebecca Martha White. Will the doctoral students being hooded by Professor Hornberger please approach the stage? Elaine Aylard. Bridget Ann Goodman. Jamie Lee Shizzle. Will the doctoral students being hooded by Professor Ingersoll please approach the stage? Elizabeth Lisa Hayes Merrill. Will the doctoral students being hooded by Dr. Johannick please approach the stage? Janet Smith Pullen. Ann Nicoletta Bonitadibus. Barbara Ann Russell. Will the doctoral students being hooded by Professor Karloff please approach the stage? Courtney Marie Dunn. Brandon Lee Wiley. Will the doctoral students being hooded by Professor Lytle please approach the stage? Dennis O'Neill Campbell. Lawrence Winston Fryer, Jr. Nina L. Gilbert. Brandon Marshall Miller. Penny Sparks Nixon. Matthew Samuel Tossman. Will the doctoral student being hooded by Professor Moore please approach the stage? Michael J. Allman. Will the doctoral student being hooded by Dr. Neighbors Ola please approach the stage? Adrian Costa Manuel. Will the doctoral students being hooded by Professor Knuckala please approach the stage? Zara Makowitz Wolf. Scott Albert Stimfel. Will the doctoral students being hooded by Professor Perna please approach the stage? Mary Catherine Finger. Alan Gozum. Kimberly Denise Geyer. Kiernan Robert Matthews. Tafoya Ransom. Awilda Rodriguez. Sean James Ryan. Will the doctoral student being hooded by Professor Puckett please approach the stage? Leslie Cohen Rogers. Will the doctoral students being hooded by Professor Ravitch please approach the stage? Adam Samuel Bronstein. Heather Dawn Curl. David Joseph DiFilippo. Susan Feibelman. Danielle Fitz Fulmer. Sumathi Pearl. Christopher George Pupic Dean. Rosina Lucia Rasiopi. Will the doctoral student being hooded by Professor Remillard please approach the stage? Andrea Ottinger. Will the doctoral student being hooded by Dr. Regan please approach the stage? Marta da Pena Barón. Will the doctoral student being hooded by Dr. Rust please approach the stage? Carolyn Ruley. Will the doctoral students being hooded by Professor Rhymes please approach the stage? David Brandon Cooley. Sarah Gallo. Heather Lynn Hurst. Will the doctoral students being hooded by Professor Stevenson please approach the stage? Tanya G. Wiggins. Will the doctoral students being hooded by Professor Sapovitz please approach the stage? James Keith Dunbar. Jean-Pierre Gagnon. Thank you. Milana Hogan. Donnell Patrice Walker. Will the doctoral students being hooded by Dr. Watts please approach the stage? Orlando Prince Taylor. Joe Mazza. Will the doctoral student being hooded by Professor Wortham please approach the stage? Carolyn Chernoff. Will the doctoral student being hooded by Professor Yoon please approach the stage? Betty Chandy. Will the doctoral students being hooded by Professor Robert Zemsky please approach the stage? Gretchen Claire Dobson. Jose Antonio Guzman. Linda Chiara Lavati Luciano. Peggy McCready. Richard Salcido, MD. Candace Thiel. Will the
Will the doctoral graduates now rise, turn, and face our guests? Please. It's not official until you move your tassel from the right to the left. Please be seated. We now confer the master's degrees. I speak for the entire GSE community in telling you how proud we are of your accomplishments and how honored we are to have helped you on your way toward a full and satisfying career in one of the many diverse and challenging areas of education. It is with great pleasure that I confer your degree today in recognition of your successful completion of graduate studies in education. With the students receiving the Master of Philosophy and Master of Science degrees, please rise and approach the stage.
Adam Joseph Bergevin. Heather Benning. Karen Ann Sloman. Nithika Gupta. Amy Yael Shiowitz. Carrie Allison McCall. Lee Michelle Elko. Ilana Iman Brookins Jones. Samantha Sheets. Alexandra Louise Spear. Cholada Jarakitsakul. Ellen Jenkins Foster. We are pleased to present the Master of Science degree to the following graduates. Devin Andrew Zabolski. Yuri Lipovsky. Michael Anthony Keith, Jr. Abby Pan. Christine Bonney. Yuqing Liu. Yua Feng. Robin Marie Ward. Zhen Wang. Yue Shang. Evan Layton Black. Allison Stolo. Rachel Elizabeth Sheehan. Emily Dijon Loeb. Yawan Pang. Colleen Elizabeth Daly. Rabia Mehboob. Varti Yeremyan. Christine Hasday. Heather Dawn Brubach. Ryan Thomas Copeland. Gaia Sturbees. Sarah Margaret Buller. Allison Lene Archer. Meredith Schofield Shiner. Renata Martina McAdams. Madeline Joan Silber. Ariana Minella. Hope Noel Willow. Howard Carl Gottlieb. Jacob Chernikoff Frumkin. Mary Abigail Foley. Francis Sullivan Brandt. Jonathan Atlas Beck. Emily Ann Jameson. Catherine Motika. Melissa Jean Allhouse. Sarah Catherine Gratina. Duncan Busser. Rebecca Shalini Radnatsingham. Ja Young Hum. Tiffany Pan. Anthony Andre Zarate. Lauren Marie Scott. Tyra Hodge. Jacqueline Kim. Rita Deng. Hyen Yoon. Erica Ann Koplov. Marna Elizabeth Cohn. Jacqueline Ivy Hain. Marissa Spadali. Mary Ellen Bell. Megan Wright Katz. Brian Andrew Cam. Jillian Ann Boucher. Jennifer Greenman. Sarah Angel. Deanna Santoro. Justin Meltzer. Matthew Stern. Eric Donald Newman. Catherine Carey Curtin. Lisa Lapina. Erin Marie Clancy. Soo Jin Paik. Sophia Angeline Patrillo. Isabella Rosa Giorno. Ali Caroline Rosenstein. Caitlin Elizabeth Zambone. Laura Dana Wink. Rebecca Lee Minnick. Stephanie Ann Rondo. Anne Elizabeth Bollinger. Young Soo Park. Elisheva Zuckerberg. Rachel Carnavale. Jessica Ann Walker. Latoya Hall. Indaka Damith Akanayaka. Zachary Lewis Lax. Coley Carlton Woodward II. Stephen Lucas. Corinne Bellamia. Lisha Zhang. Jia Chi Ge. Han Su. Shui Ko. Ling Hui Chu. Jia Yi Zhang. Esther Xu. Shihan Chen. Mark Vincent Beltran Yu. Kanisha Askew. Jessica Clapper Downs. Allison Perch. Emily Christine Seitz. Noemi Zapata. Erica Nicole Hildebrand. Shu Shan Cheng. Mei-Ti Suksarn. Amber Elaine Touch. Brooke Rachel Walmark. Allison Catherine Marcus. Julia Miller. Emily Allegra Wiseman. Vance Christopher Lewis. Maxwell Tarter. Stephen J. Williams. Elisa Yuen. Alana Eve Gromis. Mara Douglas. Marie Evangeline Berube. Ta Hu Fan. Samantha Levine. Courtney R. Pierce. Catherine E. Ackenhead. Sonia M. Lopez. Catherine Tedesco. Kendall Waters Lapero. Anthony Fratanduono. Patrick James Doyle. Richard James Widman. Michael O'Hara. Michael Nowak. Elise Gabrielle Schulk. Lauren A. Cohen. Michelle Straussman. Isabel Phoebe Dewey. Stephanie Weir. Kelly Donovan. Yoko Tominaga. Christine Lillian Galib. Emily S. Bregman. Brenda Garcia. Lauren Jacqueline Boyle. Fernando Morris Duran. David Allen Lewandowski. Kendall Jared Christensen. Rachel Ziebel. Taryn Ortlip. Miriam Abdel Hamid. Randy Narviz Ruiz. Adea Marie White. Felicia Graham. Shade Bainia Misa. Masha Ka. Ariel Hu. Michael Dave Finn. Braulio Salas. Daniel Nicole Thomas. Daniel Marie Harris. Jasmine Green. Justin Avery Coles. Marquita Siobhan Hardy. Victoria Lizette Graham. Charles Graham Jr. Susan Pack. Natalie Umanya. Carissa Barlow. Jillian Abby Streslin. Chelsea Blake Dolchin. Desiree Wiederman. Krista Louise Cortez. Kenloy Keston Henry. Kyle Tucker. Lauren Ashley McBride. Tiffany LaShawn Freeman. Danielle Latrice Staggers. Andrew Martinez. Karen Martin Koch. Matthew Alexander Nelson. Shredavi Rao. Liliana Castro. Paola S. Mew. Philip Scotton. Devin Lee Miner. Joseph Paul Barone. Amin Goyal. Nadila Fareen Yusuf. Abby Laurel Jones. Lindsay Jean Adams. Hannah Rebhorn. Laura Catherine Philbin. Jessica Lynn Williams. Megan Arleth. Sarah Elizabeth Mullen. Tiffany Nicole Decker Dobrogovsky. Dorian Langazal. Shishi Meng. Catherine Ann Damon. Rebecca Eckhart. Sheen Tzu. Katrina Burns. Adam Thomas Marrow. Laura Ann Kindle. Anne Brandt. Ziki Young. Jesse Ye. Porinas Montegi. Victoria Louise Fosdal. Yoon Mi Yi. Maurice Anthony Williams, Jr. Tyree Eli Williams. Shayna S. Israel. Liam Burns George. Jacqueline Amparo. Brandy Ray Jackson. Fei Chung Liu. Yu Zhan Chen. Timothy James Johnson. Molly Rand. Laura Page Gart. Jacqueline Ryan Clevenger. Michelle Majeski. Lisa Michelle Gruenbaum. So-Fei Zhang. Shi Chen. Yaning Yu. Diane Alcafaz. Secret Franson. William A. Albertson. Yuji Shou. So Young Park. Hye John Han. Hyungjo Yoon. Yokyo Seo. Wei Run Ma. Shaori Lee. Ying Xiao. Shanyu Yi. Yiyu Zhang. Jai Li. Huan Yang. Yinyin Chen. Qianyu Liu. Shen Zhou. Xiao Fu. Jiolok Ho. Zhu Dong. Sejin Park. Ning Kong. Yu Chao Sung. Yu Ting Wang. Xiao Ying Wang. Lu Yao Deng. Yang Zhan Zhou. Amy Blake Platt. Jia Yi Zheng. Yunong Hong. Anqi Yan. Chun Tao. Danley Chen. Ying Yan. Xuan Zhou. Ye Tracy Kong. Jing Wang. Wang Shi. Loretta Peggy Zhang. Daphne Zhou. Alejandra Elspeth Carranza. Allison Rachel Clothy. Guang Quang Lian. Yao Peng. Hui Yang. Dongyang Zhou. Xian Zheng. Yu Shi Chen. Hong Sun. Xiu Su. Wan Chin Liu. Salome Rancis. Laura Kiriakou. Nolega Walubengo. Jordan May Carnes. Heather Glazer. Ariel Yasmin Brown. Teresa Marie Stebner. Robin Island Woods. Sophie Pin. Polly Sam. Natasha Nicole Robinson. Kathleen Marie Huber. Alexandra Volpe. Sarah McCann. Pamela Brown Resnick. Meredith Ann Cole. Paul Anthony Devanzo. Eric Schneider. Jennifer Valliere. Sarah Jean Machura. Jennifer Catherine Kim. Johanna Agnew. Michael Witt. Kushbu Ketty. James Lawrence Tebow. Amanda Berkey. Natasha Helena Bradley. Gina Nicole Johnson. Edwina Coverson Barnes. Melissa Rose Ryan. Devin Colette Daniels. Akeisha M. Washington. Khalila Salam. Elizabeth Michaela Gobbley. Lauren Michelle Stanton. Suzanne Jeanette Marks. Nicole C. Jordan. Chanel Manea. Pamela Friedman. Sharon Rosenthal. Leslie Ann Gable. Dion Zhu. Yu Wan Wang. Wenjie Zhang. Philip Yang. Nicholas Edward Miller Good. Michael Savino. Leroy Gray. Andrea Osmigoglo. Anne-Marie Strange. Ross Gunderson. Victoria Tong. Karen Malia Derman. Elliot R. Stern. Kaylee Pavlak. Anne Mahoney Brooks. Jamie Bell Stevenson. Kate Elizabeth Miller. Alyssa Rose Sparling. Lauren Alexandra Mayer. Julie Brooke Berger. Erin Schneider. Lydia Sheldon. Portia Bryce. Lindsay Renee Todd. Kristen Camille Jackson. Kevin Fitzroy Beckford. Jessica Claire Piette. Luke Unaland. Maxwell Allen Rosenlong. Anthony Joseph De Pasquale. James McTeague. James Mongeluzzo. Brian Philip Huzzy. Stephanie Marie Graff. Claire Patricia Lubert. Emily Rose Heroy Fillingham. Shea Kwan Hong. Ya Shang Li. Chang Liu. Xiao Tong Chen. Kajal Sinha. Shi Geng. Lin Tan. Chen Zhu. Amanda Grace Charles. Alexandra Maria Gonzalez. Charlotte Sophia Makosi. Li Wei Shu. Jia Yang. Jillian Page. Danielle Taylor. Haley Didrikson. Sitha Pardeshi. Peter Joseph Lynch. Danielle Wolf. Jeremy Rosenthal. Alan Raw Garcia Watras. William B. Morris III. Nicole Gabrielle Young. Kristen T. Edge. Courtney Alexander Harris. Tyler Robert Murray. Madeline Himmel Jittimer. Jasmine Fleming. Jeanette Jovel. Caitlin Vaughn. Mercy Ajapong. Kenneth Jake Devaney. Catherine Diffenderfer. Louis James Herbst. Corinne Bilodeau. Douglas McGee. Johanna Ray Rodriguez. Rachel Di Gregorio. James Leathers. Lee Bick Win. Catherine Lindsay Sylvester. Chun Chun Tung. Jacob Kornblatt. Jian Guo. Tong Wu. Han Wang. Akos Shupius. Charles H. Nolan III. Xinyi Zhou. Mengxi Liao. Kamia Hodge. Benzui Wesson-A. Aslyn James. Molly Crofton. Yuran Feng. Cindy Lei. Junhee Wee. Joshua Cleveland. Jonathan Roberts. Laura McAdams. Chelsea Marie Henderson. Suzanne Elizabeth Van Fleet. Catherine Elizabeth Mell. Christine Gottschall. Anne Laurie Keneally. And last but not least, Emily Perry Gardner.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, the script calls for the master's students to now rise, but I can see you're way ahead of me. And if you haven't already moved your tassel over to the left side, please do that. Let's give them a big applause. Please be seated. You and your guests are invited to attend the division receptions listed on the back of your commencement programs. Congratulations to all of our 2012 and 13 graduates. It is with tremendous pleasure and pride that we wish you the very best of success and happiness in your personal and professional lives. Please rise and remain standing while the students and faculty leave the field.